Hello everyone and welcome back to the Artificial DM. So for today we have another RPG horror story. Another viewer submitted RPG horror story. I honestly love hearing from you guys as you send in these stories. They're all great. From the minuscule ones that are only a couple paragraphs long, to the ones that are filled with a bunch of juicy details. Glory stories, horror stories, go ahead and send them in. I love them. Anyway. This story is from Jupiter Rising, and just the title alone, I knew, okay, I cannot pre-read this story at all. It's going to be a good one. And he titles it, RPG Horror Story, The Japanese Vampire Schoolgirl Assassin. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. We all will enjoy it. Hey Artificial DM, I've just started watching your channel and I'm already a fan. I've been involved in tabletop gaming for going on 17 years, and I have a few stories myself that I wouldn't mind sharing. This story comes straight from the world of online gaming with virtual tabletops, and occurred 5 or 6 years ago. While I got started in person at physical tables with AD&D, World of Darkness is my real passion. I'm almost always the storyteller, hence the name, but I have a passion for being a player and jump at any chance I get. This particular game was Vampire the Masquerade, and our chronicle was set in Las Vegas in the World of Darkness, a gothic punk approximation of our own world. The game was being run by a guy I met online who called himself Wolf, and he seemed pretty cool. But the first thing that shocked me was how large the group size actually was. In the first session, we had 7 players. Now, for reference, these games usually have 5 at the very most. The basic concern is that every player at the table takes up a certain amount of spotlight time, and it's hard to get everyone engaged in the game when there are so many people. Especially in a game that isn't necessarily party-oriented like Vampire. But whatever. I went with a character concept who was from Clan Bruja, the hot-headed street punk style vampires inspired by movies like The Lost Boys and Near Dark. My character was an older guy, embraced, turned into a vampire, during the Vietnam War, and had been a vampire for about 30 years. He was a member of the Anarchs, a political faction of vampires who resist the rule of their elders. John Coster. I have to admit some shame here. I had min-maxed this guy to do some damage. John was huge, like gorilla huge. The guy was 7 feet tall and had 5 strength, the maximum allowable, and 4 potence, the vampiric equivalent of superhuman strength. 5 is the maximum allowable. In my defense, it wasn't because I'm a destructive player, I just didn't have much faith in the game, and I was determined to have some fun before it fell apart, as they often do in online platforms, and sometimes the best way to do that is to kick some butt. Boy, did I. Later in the game, I ended up taking on 3 werewolves single-handed, with nothing more than a silver fire axe, and somehow survived to tell the tale. But that's not what the story is about. We were running the game on Skype. This was before I made the move to Discord, and I'm trying to roleplay my scene when it finally got to my turn. My character John is rolling up on this bar in downtown Vegas that's a known hangout for local anarch vampires. I'm getting into character, stopped at the door by what Wolf described as a big black dude, and suddenly, over the mic I hear, "Get ready for that BBC, white boy!" Meet Kevin. His real name probably isn't Kevin, but that's what I'm going to call him for the purpose of this story. It is the internet after all. I don't know his real name. I hear this blare through the microphone, on top of these obnoxiously loud chewing noises that are coming through from Kevin's mic, along with the television in the background. This guy wasn't paying attention half the time, and I learned why when I realized the sound of the television is him playing a console game. I try to ignore him after Wolf asks him to mute his mic. Kevin complains that he doesn't know where the mute button is, while continually stuffing what I can only imagine are large handfuls of potato chips in his mouth, and literally talking around them. All 6 of us, myself, the 5 other players, and Wolf, sit uncomfortably for a full 8 minutes, listening to Kevin swear and curse while he tries to figure out how to mute his mic. A couple of the players are telling him to just click the mute button on Skype, but apparently, nah, it's too far. I guess he wasn't sitting at his computer, and it was too much trouble to get up from wherever he was to click a button. Finally, he's muted and we continue the scene. I brush it off and do my own John thing, punching the thug through the door when he tries to tax my character for coming to the bar. Fun. But then my turn was over, and it was time for me to sit there for 3 more shocking hours listening to what unfolded next. We get introduced to Kevin's character when a mysterious box arrives. Turns out, that is a crate mailed from Japan, and Kevin's character is inside. When the box is opened, and it came time for Kevin to describe his character, he says the following. Okay, imagine Missio from Rurouni Kenshin, but if she flooped that Asian chick from Kill Bill, and they had a baby. That's this character. Except she's literally 12, and she's all dressed out in her schoolgirl outfit, and has a deadly purpose, and a big-ass katana. Its deadly edge gleaming on the street lamp. Kevin spent more time describing his character's sword than he did his character, and I'm hardly surprised when I learned she was embraced into Clan Assamite. What are Clan Assamite, you might be asking? Well, they're a clan of Middle Eastern vampires that are called the Bunu Hakim in the latest editions of Vampires for PC reasons. But in this edition, they were Assamites, a clan of Middle Eastern undead assassins with powers of superhuman speed, invisibility, and unique power to turn their blood to poison and apply it in various ways to their enemies. And you thought I was power gaming with John? Assamites are a player killer's wet dream. Yes, you heard that right. A clan of Middle Eastern vampires embraced a Japanese schoolgirl that Kevin has described as literally 12 and sent her to Las Vegas, Nevada. Then Wolf asked Kevin what his character's name was. This seems to catch Kevin completely off guard. What? Shit. I don't know, he says among more gratuitous chewing noises. I hadn't picked one. Her name is Miyaso. No. Wait. Her name is Hinata. She's all pale and cute, and it looks like all she has on is this schoolgirl outfit, and nothing else underneath. I swear, I'm sitting there listening to Kevin describe his pale and cute Japanese schoolgirl assassin, but these words I'm typing do it no justice. The lechery in his voice was enough to make your skin crawl. He then switches his pornographic description of his character's sword to Hinata herself, cranking up the creep factor to a number much higher than his character's age, and using the words hot jailbait to describe her more than once. Kevin's character, apparently, had been tasked to investigate something under the sewers along with one of the other players, whose character is a tremor vampire, undead blood sorcerers. Long story, but not as corny as it sounds. Kevin, while he was describing Hinata in his creepy way, periodically breaks character to tell the tremor player that he's going to get diablerized, and laughs about it. For those who don't know, diablery is when one vampire drains another vampire to death and steals their powers. Kevin thinks this is hilarious, and continues to make this other player even more uncomfortable than the rest of us, who are sitting in painful silence while Kevin goes on about his character. He even goes in character to threaten the tremor player for no discernible reason, the character who he's supposed to be there to help, because apparently there's nothing more interesting for him to do. In the vampire community, Assamites have a bad reputation for trenchcoats and katanas. I'd always heard it, but never seen it for myself. Reading back what I have typed so far, I realize it sounds like maybe Kevin was just trolling, and I wish I could tell you that. Like Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption.
I wish I could tell you that.
But online gaming is no fairy tale world, friend. Kevin is the real deal. Eventually, during the sewer run, Kevin and his Tremere friend run into the Nosferatu. This is a clan of hideously deformed vampires who often lurk in the sewers of major cities to better hide their existence. They also have vampiric invisibility, and Wolf described over 20 of these scary movie monster vampires appearing out of nowhere to surround these two players. They ask, in a menacing way, the turf had been infringed upon, why they were there. Oh, and Kevin is ready. I unsheath my sword, take my kata stance, and say, "Back off, punks, unless you want some of this!" The Tremere player, who is rightfully horrified and clearly just wants to get the heck out of there as soon as humanly possible, because he knows how totally screwed they both are if the Nosferatu decide to attack. In addition to invisibility, they also have superhuman strength. Wolf, apparently being merciful, says, "Okay. Roll manipulation plus intimidation at difficulty 9. This is a very difficult roll in this system, but honestly, if I was the storyteller for this game, I would have had these Nosferatu just burst out laughing. Kevin immediately says, "Aw, but I didn't take that skill. That's not cool, man. I'm not a social character." Wolf, with the patience of an ancient Japanese riverstone, asks Kevin to roll anyway. Kevin's character has no intimidation because he spent all of his points on combat skills and very low manipulation. He fails the roll. This is flooping bullshit, Kevin says with all the sullen anger of a small child. Wolf, trying to get back in character, asks again what they are doing there. Kevin, still sulking, says nothing. The Tremere, who at this point I pity intensely, is trying to do some roleplay to open some sort of dialogue to save their bacon. Suddenly, in the middle of the Tremere talking, literally mid-sentence, out of nowhere, Kevin bellows into his mic so loud it scares the crap out of me. I am the one true Hokage! Hokage? Hokage? I don't know how that's said. Sorry. We all go dead silent. Kevin says, I activate celerity and attack these punks with my katana. I quickly realize when I see the dice that Kevin has bought celerity, superhuman speed, all the way up to 5 at character creation, and has 5 melee skill with his sword. But here's the thing. He's surrounded, outnumbered 20-1, and facing off against vampires with superhuman strength. I instantly know what's going to happen before it does. I've been playing Vampire way too long to not see it coming. Kevin doesn't get the top initiative in his role, so he doesn't get to go first in combat. And when the first 3 Nosferatu grab him, Kevin quickly realizes his celerity doesn't count for a sushi-flavored crap when he's being grappled. His character gets cuckolded into 2 flat chunks of Japanese schoolgirl-shaped matter as his character is literally ripped in half. Kevin doesn't get to swing his sword even once, while the Tremere runs away as fast as he possibly can. Kevin's mood turns ugly in an instant. What the hell is your problem, man? Don't you realize how good my character is? Don't you understand she could have easily killed all those guys? What the hell? How long have you been playing Vampire? He begins shouting over the mic, his voice crackling under the strain. He goes full Apache nuclear meltdown on us, and especially Wolf. Don't you know how long she trained in Japan? In flooping Japan, man! In flooping Japan! Kevin is shrieking into his mic so loudly that his voice warbles over Skype, and I hear a female voice distant and muffled in the background on his end of Skype go something like, Hey, what's going on up there? Kevin continues ranting. I don't remember it all, but it lasted a full minute or 2. I remember he kept saying stuff like, She is like a 3rd generation shinobi, and you think these assholes can kill her? And kept asking Wolf over and over how long he's been playing Vampire, as if he didn't know what he was doing. Wolf doesn't respond. He just calls the session there and says, Okay, we're done. See you guys next week, and dips offline. I'm sitting in stunned silence trying to process what just happened. As an epilogue, Kevin is quietly voted off Las Vegas Island by literally everyone in alliance against him and his Assamite Japanese Lolita Schoolgirl Oh my gosh, I can't say assassin. Kevin is quietly voted off Las Vegas Island by literally everyone in alliance against him and his Assamite Japanese Lolita Schoolgirl Assassin Vampire. I never saw him again, except one time a few months later, when I saw his username trying to apply for another Vampire game I was joining. I contacted the storyteller and begged him in the name of all that is holy to not let him into the group. I've got plenty of other stories I've seen over the years gaming, but this is one of the far most extreme things I've ever experienced. If you'd like to hear more, hit me up. I'd be happy to supply. Storyteller by Night. Wow. Jupiter Rising, Storyteller by Night, I really do appreciate that you shared your story with us. That was a horrifically wonderful tale. Like seriously, there's no other way to put it. Being in a game where things aren't going too well to begin with because the pacing's off, and then this lad of a player, oh my gosh, going ape over the fact that he made a terrible calculation and judgment call. And the storyteller was even merciful, as you said, allowing him to actually try for a role. As you said, some storytellers and DMs, they would just go, you made these choices, deal with it and eat all this dice. But he at least gave him a chance to roll. Wow, I'm very glad that you shared this story with me. That was a good highlight for the day. What did you all think of the story? Please share your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. I did go ahead and send an email to Storyteller by Night asking him to share more stories, and hopefully we'll be able to get to some of those in the future. If you do want to hear more stories from him, please hit the subscribe button. It'd be a great way to keep in the loop about what new stories are coming out. That's gonna do it for today. And until next time, hope you feel inspired.